Millions of Americans replaced dairy milk with oat milk to be healthier. But new research suggests oat milk may be quietly messing with your hormones. It sounds impossible. Oat milk is marketed as clean, plant-based, and heart-healthy. So how could something this safe affect your hormones at all? The answer lies in something most people never check: the glycemic index. Oat milk spikes blood sugar faster than you'd expect, sometimes faster than a can of soda. And when blood sugar spikes repeatedly, your body releases a hormone you've definitely heard of: insulin. This is where the story gets interesting. Insulin isn't just about sugar, it's a master hormone. It talks to your thyroid, your cortisol levels, and even your reproductive hormones. So when you drink oat milk every single day, you're not just fueling your body, you may be sending repeated hormonal signals that add up over time. Let's break down exactly what's inside a typical glass of oat milk, because the ingredient list holds the real clues. Oats naturally contain beta-glucan, a fiber that can actually help stabilize blood sugar. That's the good news. But here's the catch. Most commercial oat milk brands strip away much of that fiber during processing, leaving mostly starch and added sugar behind. That processed starch converts into sugar almost instantly once it hits your bloodstream. This is why oat milk can spike glucose faster than people expect. Now let's talk hormones directly. Repeated insulin spikes force your body to release more insulin over time to keep up, a state called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance doesn't just affect blood sugar. It disrupts testosterone in men and estrogen balance in women. It can also elevate cortisol, your primary stress hormone, creating a cycle of fatigue, cravings, and stubborn body fat. So what actually happens hour by hour and day by day when oat milk becomes a daily habit? Let's follow the timeline. 24 hours in. Your blood sugar rises quickly after that first glass, then crashes, leaving you hungrier than before, often within just 2 hours. That crash triggers ghrelin, your hunger hormone, which is why so many oat milk drinkers report snacking more throughout the day. 7 days in. Your body starts adapting to the repeated sugar spikes by producing more insulin per glass than it did on day 1. This is also when many people notice subtle changes: more bloating, slight energy dips in the afternoon, and increased sugar cravings. Elevated cortisol at this stage can subtly suppress testosterone production, which may explain reports of lower energy and reduced motivation. 30 days in. For some people, insulin resistance markers measurably increase, meaning the body now needs even more insulin to process the same glass of oat milk. For others, especially those combining oat milk with fiber-rich meals, the effect is minimal. Context always matters in nutrition science. Now let's bust the biggest myth. Does oat milk cause estrogen dominance? This claim has spread widely online. The truth is, oats do not contain estrogen or plant compounds strong enough to significantly disrupt hormone levels in healthy adults. The real hormonal impact comes from blood sugar spikes and insulin response, not some mysterious plant estrogen. Another myth, that oat milk is automatically healthier than dairy milk. That depends entirely on the brand and how it's processed. Some oat milk brands add oils and sugar that spike insulin more than whole dairy milk would. Reading labels matters more than the marketing on the carton. So here's the final verdict. Oat milk isn't secretly poisoning your hormones, but daily, unchecked consumption of high-starch, low-fiber versions can quietly influence insulin and stress hormones over time. The fix isn't fear, it's awareness. Choose high-fiber, low-sugar oat milk, pair it with protein or fat, and your hormonal response stays far more stable. Your body isn't broken by one plant milk. It's shaped by daily patterns. And now you know exactly what's happening beneath the surface. Let's go deeper into the science, because most explanations online stop way too early. There's a hormone chain reaction most people never hear about. When starch converts to sugar in your bloodstream, your liver gets involved too, storing excess sugar as fat if it isn't used for energy. This is why some people who switch to oat milk without adjusting their diet Notice slow, unexplained weight gain over several weeks. It's not the oat milk alone causing this. It's the combination of frequency, portion size, and what you eat alongside it. Now here's something most nutrition videos never mention. Oat milk's impact can vary dramatically between brands. Some spike blood sugar twice as fast as others. Brands that add cane sugar or maltodextrin cause the sharpest spikes. Brands that keep more of the oat's natural fiber cause a much smoother rise. So if you've been drinking oat milk daily and wondering why your energy crashes by 10 a.m., the label in your fridge might hold the answer. Let's return to the timeline and go even further. What happens after 24 hours becomes more revealing when you look hour by hour. Within 30 minutes of drinking oat milk, blood glucose begins climbing. By the 1-hour mark, it often peaks. By hour 2, insulin has driven glucose back down, sometimes too far down, triggering that familiar shaky, hungry feeling. By hour 4, ghrelin levels rise again, pushing you toward your next snack, often something sugary, continuing the cycle. This single-day pattern, repeated daily, is what actually builds toward the bigger hormonal shifts we see by day 30. Now let's revisit day 7 with more precision. Cortisol testing in small studies shows measurable increases in people consuming high glycemic drinks daily. Elevated cortisol at this stage often shows up as poor sleep quality, even if total sleep hours stay the same. Poor sleep then raises cortisol further the next day, creating a feedback loop that many people never connect back to their morning oat milk. By day 14, some men report a subtle dip in libido or motivation, a pattern researchers link to sustained cortisol elevation suppressing testosterone. Women in the same window sometimes report increased bloating or irregular energy tied to fluctuating estrogen-progesterone balance. Again, none of this means oat milk is dangerous. It means your hormones respond to patterns, not single choices. By day 30, the clearest measurable change in most studies is insulin sensitivity, not testosterone, not estrogen, not cortisol directly. Insulin is the true starting domino. Everything else, cortisol shifts, energy dips, cravings, flows downstream from that one hormone. Now let's bust more myths, because misinformation about oat milk spreads faster than the actual science. Myth: oat milk causes man boobs due to phytoestrogens. Reality: oats contain negligible phytoestrogen levels compared to soy, and no strong clinical evidence supports this claim. Myth: oat milk is carb-free or low-carb. Reality: it often contains more carbs per serving than whole dairy milk. Myth: all oat milk is processed the same way. Reality: cold-pressed and enzyme-processed versions retain more fiber and cause smaller blood sugar spikes. Myth: oat milk is bad for everyone. Reality: for people without insulin resistance, moderate daily oat milk shows minimal hormonal impact. So who should actually be cautious? People with prediabetes, PCOS, or existing insulin resistance should pay closer attention to portion and brand. For everyone else, oat milk in moderation, paired with protein or fat, remains a reasonable part of a balanced diet. Here's a simple practical fix. Add a spoon of chia seeds or nut butter to your oat milk to slow sugar absorption significantly. Another fix: choose unsweetened high-fiber oat milk brands. The difference in blood sugar response can be dramatic. And finally, never drink oat milk alone on an empty stomach if you're sensitive to blood sugar swings. Pair it with something first. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Oat milk isn't the villain the internet made it out to be, but it's not automatically the health hero either. The truth sits in the middle, in the fiber content, the sugar content, the brand you choose, and how often you drink it. Nutrition science rarely gives simple yes or no answers. It gives patterns, probabilities, and personal context. So before you throw out your oat milk, or blindly keep drinking it, check the label, check your portion, and check how your body actually responds. Your hormones are always listening to your daily habits. Oat milk is just one small signal among thousands your body receives every day. Understanding this one drink teaches a bigger lesson. Real health comes from patterns, not panic. So here's your final takeaway. Oat milk can be part of a healthy life, if you choose wisely and drink mindfully. Because in the end, it was never really about the oats. It was about what your daily choices are quietly building inside you. Let's talk about something rarely covered: how oat milk compares to other plant milks when it comes to hormonal impact. Almond milk has a much lower glycemic impact than oat milk, but it also contains far less protein, which matters for satiety. Soy milk actually contains real phytoestrogens, unlike oat milk, yet decades of research show no consistent evidence it disrupts hormones in normal amounts. This comparison matters because oat milk gets blamed online for hormone disruption. Soy milk was originally accused of a case of misplaced fear. Coconut milk, by contrast, has almost no impact on blood sugar but is much higher in saturated fat, a different trade-off entirely. There is no perfect milk. Every option comes with its own hormonal and metabolic trade-offs, depending on your body and your goals. Now let's talk about a group almost never mentioned in these videos: athletes and people who train intensely. For athletes, oat milk's quick sugar release can actually be useful post-workout, when muscles are primed to absorb glucose efficiently. This is a perfect example of context changing everything. The same drink can be a liability at rest and an asset after training. Timing your oat milk intake around activity, rather than drinking it passively all day, is one of the simplest hormone-friendly upgrades you can make. Let's also address sleep, because hormone health and sleep quality are deeply connected. And oat milk timing plays a role here too. Drinking sugary oat milk right before bed can spike insulin at the worst possible time, interfering with natural melatonin release. A simple fix is switching your evening drink to an unsweetened version, or having it earlier in the day instead. Let's also discuss children and teenagers, since many parents unknowingly serve oat milk daily without checking sugar content. Growing bodies are more sensitive to frequent insulin spikes, making label checking even more important for younger age groups. This isn't about eliminating oat milk from a child's diet. It's about choosing lower sugar versions and reasonable portion sizes. Now, one more overlooked factor: gut bacteria. Your microbiome actually influences how strongly oat milk affects your blood sugar. People with diverse, fiber-fed gut bacteria tend to process oat milk's carbohydrates more efficiently, resulting in smaller blood sugar spikes. This means improving your gut health with fiber-rich foods can actually make oat milk gentler on your hormones over time. So the real secret isn't avoiding oat milk. It's building a body that can handle it well, through fiber, movement, sleep, and smart timing. Let's summarize everything into one clear picture before we close this out. Oat milk itself isn't hormone poison. The real drivers are added sugar, processing method, portion size, timing, and your personal metabolic health. Choose wisely, drink mindfully, and pay attention to how your own body responds. Because no two people react exactly the same way. That's the real truth about oat milk and your hormones. Not a scandal, not a miracle. Just science waiting to be understood.